Hey, I'm down here at the barn. I'm going to be doing a little bit of work on the car, getting the Vokaro a little bit closer back together. We've got the chassis painted on the underside, all undercoated. Got flipped back over. The primer is on it. I'm going to be finishing that up in the spring. Just wanted to get sealed up so no more rust showed up. We've got the motor about ready to put together. Still have to clean the transmission. So I've got all these spare parts sitting around. Parts that came off, parts are going back on. This is a spare motor I got that is going to be bored out and heavily modified to be our new motor. Right now that's soaking in a tote of oil just to keep it preserved. Here I've got a 1950 VW engine that I picked up that I'm going to be getting that cleaned up and put back together. That's also soaking in oil, so nothing happens to that. It actually turns over, so I was kind of pleasantly surprised there. We've got the body pretty much cleaned up. We still have to strip all the wire out of it and get new lighting and everything ready to put the new wiring harness in. Then we can start designing the new dashboard and do the modifications to the body for the new air intake. Because we're going to be changing how the engine cools, make it run a little better, maybe even do some performance upgrades to eke out a little bit more horsepower out of it. We'll see what we'll end up doing on there. Still have to repack all the bearings. Have a lot of miscellaneous work to do before we can really get too much done. But we're really getting there. It's a lot better than it was. It's not a pile of rust anymore. This will get us by for a while. We'll eventually need to take off some of these parts I left on there for now. We'll get back to it at some point here. But today I'm going to be doing something a little bit harebrained, just to make things a little bit easier so we can move around in here a little better. And I'm going to be putting the wheels back on it, because then we can kind of roll it around the garage and not have it right in the middle of the floor, right where we basically parked it. Yes, we flipped it over a couple times, but it's still right basically where I parked the car. So we'll get started on that. And because I'm not planning on doing anything fancy, I'm just going to be putting the wheels on to roll it around the barn. I'm not bothering to do anything fancy like actually put brakes on it. I'm just throwing the drums on so I have something to bolt the wheels to. Yeah, my camera placement kind of sucks on this. I had to use my laptop because I couldn't find my regular camera. I decided it was going to just wander off somewhere. So I was using my laptop sitting on top of a brick machine, so I was kind of limited on where I could put it. Yeah, that jack stand was a little bit useless. Why use the jack when the front end of the car weighs almost nothing without the torsion bars on it? And for the next minute, I was reminded that I really should have looked at my reference pictures before I started this, because I am putting a guide bolt in on the wrong side.
course it doesn't want to go in. Luckily the parts don't weigh that much. And then I start doubting myself about which direction the tie rods go on. Even though it is pretty obvious, I kind of forgot. And nothing like forgetting where you put all the hardware. Yes, I spent all this time thinking that there was something wrong with the threads, when really I was turning it the wrong way around. We all have our moments. I was still on my first cup of coffee. Note to self, next time do not put the wheels behind the engine. And I had not used this jack in a while. Everything was a little bit stiff. Nothing really wanted to catch or release. So it was taking me quite a while to get this jacked up, to get the jack stands out. Hey, it's starting to look like a car again. Yes, if you can't make the sharp corner, just pick it up and move it. Luckily, it's light enough you can still do that. The trouble is that when I parked the car there, those shelves were not there in the background. And we're planning on building a wall there in the future, so I kind of had to move it. And it was kind of constricted on space. I couldn't decide just how I was going to turn it to get it where I wanted it. And then the tie rods fall off, because I didn't actually bolt them down, I just stuck them in there just so I could turn the wheels. Free up some much needed shelf space by putting the fuel tank back on it. Having the body on that cart makes life so much easier.
There we are, mission accomplished. That room down here again. We can get through a lot more easily. Till spring anyway, because we got one more boat to bring down. And we'll be shutting up for the winter. Got everything wrapped up about as much as it's going to be. Come spring we can move the chassis again. Get the engine on the stand, start putting that back together. And we can start detailing out the body, getting that ready again. Start customizing the dashboard, figuring out what we're going to do there. And start getting wiring put in, new lights, everything, starting over from scratch. Here we go.